Good afternoon, and welcome to Let's Meet at 3, hosted by the Erie Regional Chamber and Growth Partnership. I'm Adam Baker with Schooley Mitchell, and today with me I have Corey Barbato from Remax. Welcome, Corey. How are you today?
I'm good. How are you, Adam?
I'm doing well. I've got to say, I'm really appreciating this October Erie weather. It's rather unseasonable. Do anything fun during it this past weekend?
I moved.
You
I'm
moved.
thinking of moving my house. Yeah, so it was a long weekend.
Now, I know that's only one step to the next step, which is this coming weekend. You've got something big going on. What do you got going on this coming weekend?
Yeah, it's a big step for sure. I'm getting married on Saturday. Pretty excited about it.
Oh, congratulations. That's one of the best jobs in the world is being a husband. So, you'll do well at it.
Thanks.
So, Corey, the intent of this is just for folks in the Erie area to get to know you a little bit better, get to know your business. So, I was wondering, can you tell me a little about you, your background, what you do at Remax, and we all generally know Remax, but what is it about Remax that attracted you to them?
Yeah, well, I was born and raised here in Erie, Erie County, I should say. Edinburgh was my home when I was growing up. Grew up, went to school locally here, went to school for teaching. So I was actually an elementary teacher for almost 9 years. I decided that I needed a little break from that. And next logical step was maybe something that I could connect with people. And I thought this was a good segue into real estate. So got my real estate license and really haven't looked back. It's almost, I like to say to people, it's almost like having one parent teacher conference after the other, because the house is almost like the child, and you're explaining the goods and the difficulties of the house and how it's going to work and things like that. So I've enjoyed it. It's been an easy transition because I was used to talking with people and meeting people on their needs, and it just seems to work.
Now, you mentioned the meeting people and interacting with people. Now, obviously, for the last year and a half, almost 2 years, meeting people face to face has really been a challenge. How have you guys had to pivot during COVID?
Well, I mean, one thing with COVID, we were at first deemed non-essential, so our business was shut down. We were not allowed to show houses, do any type of meetings, any listings, anything really for about 2.5 months, I think it was at that point. So as far as pivoting goes, a lot of face-to-face over video. There were some people that when we were allowed to start working again, they started to do some virtual tours. So you didn't even have to go into the property. You could just see it all, clicking around in the 3D tours. And then a lot of this, to discuss, initial meetings. What are you looking for? How can we help? A lot of education. So, my teaching background, we do a lot of, almost like a consultation meeting, we call it, with a buyer or a seller to say, how can we help? And we kind of just explore and educate and help them understand the process so that when it comes time to actually do the buying or the selling, we're not meeting them for the first time at the house and on the fly. So it was difficult because we do like those in-person meetings and to get that face-to-face, but this made it a lot easier. Obviously, Zoom took off during that time, I think, with every business, and we were no different. So we had a lot of people actually writing offers sight unseen, and knowing that when they were able to get to that house, when we were able to work again, they could, use a contingency of inspections and so on to back out. But it was a lot of craziness. I think with any business, you had to pivot in multiple ways.
Well, and it's great that you use the technology to kind of find a unique solution to the issue that we were facing. Would you say that's been your biggest challenge, or what is your biggest challenge that you're facing now?
I mean, right now, with anything, with building homes, with cars, with electronics, there's a shortage of inventory. I think with a lot of the supply issues have hit everyone, and with us, the building of new houses is slowed, obviously, to the point where it's a 50% increase in the building costs. So people that were going to build kind of pivoted in that way, and now they're looking for single family homes that are pre-built homes, and those are few and far between. So we have become a business where supply and demand is insane. So the supply is very limited. Demand has not gone down at all, and in fact increased. We had those buyers during COVID that were looking that had to hold, and then new buyers come on the market, and next thing you know, you've got right twice the buyers and half the houses. So we've experienced that since COVID. It's, I'd say, in the last couple of months increased a little with inventory, but a house that's on the market that's desirable still multiple offers selling in even a matter of hours. So it's made it difficult. So I think what's happening with our business right now is it's becoming a more professionals market. You've got to know how to get in, how to negotiate, how to manage this kind of situation. You just can't pop in and think it's all going to work out. You've got to have a professional, strategy to handle it.
Well, you said that housing was in demand, and there's no doubt about that because I've heard personal stories about that. But I know realtors are in demand. When I go to a networking event or a social event or even family gatherings, you can always tell the realtor because there's a group of people around them asking them questions. And it makes sense, right? Because the home is typically the largest single investment anyone makes. When people catch up with you, what is that most common question that they're always asking you, and what do you usually say to them?
Yeah, I like to joke and say that we get people into the largest debt of their life. Basically, that's what we do. It's the biggest financial decision they're probably ever going to make. Most people I have is every 5 to 7 years, sometimes 10 years, but the average is 5 to 7. So they don't do it very often. So the biggest question I get is, how's the market? And I always like to reply, well, depends if you're buying or you're selling, or you're investing. Things like that. But they always want to know are property values up or down. And this time I basically tell people, if you're going to sell your property within the next, like we could go back a little bit, but in the last 6 to 8 months, it's been the best time ever to sell your property. So that's pretty much where we go with it. Ask them if they have thought about selling. But most people, if you've thought about selling, then you probably have to buy. And then the question comes up, well, what, are there houses to buy? And we always say, well, no. So right now, I think the best scenario for anybody would be selling a house without the need to buy a house. So, empty nesters, people that want to, move south or own a condo down south already. So it's usually the questions go in the way of what's the market like.
Okay. So right now, Corey, if the best client for you is going to be someone who's already got another property to move to, but they've got something that they want to get rid of. They could sell it at probably a pretty high price, and they don't have to worry about finding that other location to move into because they just don't exist. Would that be fair to say?
Yeah. Somebody who may be moving in with family, someone who's aging, somebody who's relocating for a job is going to buy somewhere else. They're still going to have those things in the new location, but the big question is, well, I can get so much money for my house now, so they want to sell, but then when they go to buy the new property, they're almost trading dollars for dollars because you're making more in your house, but then you're going to put that into the new house. So, the ideal situation is somebody who maybe wants to sell and then rent a condo, so somebody doesn't need that large family home they've had for 30 years. Yeah.
Okay. Now, I've got the $1 million question for you, Corey. Let's assume that our audience only has 30 seconds to listen to this interview. What would you want them to walk away with?
Real estate is a business. We are constantly pivoting. So you're talking about pivoting. We need to pivot based on inventory daily, interest rates that fluctuate daily, clients' needs that change. I often say, some of the clients that I work with are going through major life events. So real estate is not this business where you can go get a real estate license and just get started and just start selling houses. It's something you kind of have to develop a business plan. You've got to have a strategy. You've got to know your markets, and you've got to know how you want to operate. I think that's it for me.
Okay. All right. And now I've got, if somebody wants to get a hold of you, Corey, what would be the best way to get a hold of you?
Yeah. You can look me up on Facebook. I've got a Facebook page. Actually, we have a team. I have a small team. So Barbato team is the team that I have through Remax. But you can look up on Remax. You can text me, call my cell number. It's the best way to get a hold of me.
Now I want to go back to a question because you just said something that I thought was interesting is being that team leader. So you're not just a realtor, but you also have a team that you have to lead. What's the biggest business lesson that you've ever learned, either through leading that team or by leading that team?
Yeah, the biggest business, I guess the best advice I've ever received was do what's next. Don't focus on what's coming, the giant mountain that you're trying to climb. Don't focus on what you messed up on yesterday. Just do the next thing. It might be the smallest thing. And, people say, do baby steps, just get there one step at a time. How do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. That's all you can do. And I find that the people that struggle in this business are people that are always trying to climb this mountain in one giant leap, or they're looking at what they've done and they feel a little bummed out about how they did it yesterday. Well, just move on and do what's next.
Sounds great. Hey, I tell you, that's going to be great advice for you as you and Maria start your lives together. So I want to say congratulations to you early. But that wraps up our interview. So ladies and gentlemen, this was Corey Barbato with the Remax team. He gave you information if you want to reach out to him. But Corey, thank you very much for taking the time with me today. And I wish you the best of luck.
Thanks, Adam. Appreciate it.